How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to another Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video we're going to be talking about the Game Week 16 preview, and the community questions have made a return once again. Over on Twitter, asked for your guys' talking points and questions for the upcoming game week, and you delivered them. A lot of attacking questions generally, but there are a couple of defensive questions that we're going to be talking about in this video. So hopefully Game Week 15 is still going well for you. I'm recording this on Thursday afternoon, so the Sheffield United game and the Arsenal fixture have not happened yet. So just keep that in mind. A couple of these talking points might change, probably just the captaincy, but you never know, maybe there's a big injury to a big player, and then we obviously wouldn't have covered that in this video. But just wanted to give you a little bit of a reminder about that, and hopefully you do enjoy the video. We have had our first sponsorship on the Dayvy FPL channel, so thanks a lot to OneFootball. OneFootball is a footballing app that gives you live notifications of the games that you're following, so it makes the perfect FPL companion app, and I've been using it for a couple of years now, and that's why I was happy to do a sponsorship with them as I use the product. So down below there's a link for all you need to know about OneFootball. You can go download the app on iOS or Android. It's completely free, so no commission or anything here, so you don't have to worry about that, but I use it, so should you. So another quick reminder, I just wanted to say it's going to be a quick deadline, guys. I know the fixtures end tonight on a Thursday, but just be prepared for that Saturday afternoon quick turnaround deadline. We will be covering it probably with a deadline with Dayvy stream. I know you guys enjoy those quite a lot, so I will try and do a stream on Saturday afternoon. So hopefully you guys can join me. It probably will be around an hour before the deadline, so stay tuned for that. But I also wanted to give you a reminder about the Champions League fixtures. They're not happening this week, but they're happening after Game Week 16. And the reason why I'm giving you a reminder is they are the last group stage games of the Champions League. So teams that are not yet qualified for those playoffs are going to be looking at those must-win games. I'm thinking about the likes of Chelsea and Liverpool that come to mind. Spurs and Man City will also play in that, but I wanted to just focus on a little bit about Chelsea and Liverpool, as they definitely have to do well in their games. So we might see a little bit of rotation. We'll talk about it when we talk about the Liverpool and Chelsea players later on, but I just wanted to give you guys a reminder so it stays in the back of your head and you completely don't negate these Champions League fixtures, as I do think they will be quite important to Game Week 16. But let's get on to the watch list. So on the watch list, we yet again have two consistent players. That's the likes of Musset and Maddison. But introducing himself into the lineup is Sadio Mane, a player that's been on the watch list before and has been on my eye for quite a while, but definitely comes into consideration after his marvelous performance against Everton with 2 assists and 1 goal. He could have had a lot more, should have probably had a hat-trick, but unfortunately he did miss 2 one-on-ones towards the end of the fixture, so that is quite disappointing for his owners. But the reason he's on my watch list, as I am not an owner of Sadio Mane. I know it's crazy, how can I not own him, but I am unfortunately an owner of Mohamed Salah, and I didn't want to lose the likes of Sterling for Sadio Mane. I know captain hindsight comes into play after Sterling did absolutely nothing this past game week, but I still am looking at maybe bringing Sadio Mane in. The Game Week 18 fixture, which we'll talk about in the next question, is going to be quite a predicament if I do manage to bring him in, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. With Musset and Maddison, Musset is playing tonight, so can't really talk about him much, but he does look like he should be on form. The only thing with Musset that's a little bit worrying is that Sheffield United do have a couple of centre forwards in their squad. I think about 4, and those players are all going to be looking to get a starting position around that Christmas period, and you know the fixtures hit thick and fast around there, so we could see some rotation. But then with Maddison, scored really late on in their game against Watford last night, but he still looks like a really good option. The thing that interests me about Maddison is that he's getting in those areas of scoring. I don't think we've seen as many assists as we will be expecting, but he is getting in those shooting positions, and I think with Leicester's form and their fixtures, he should be looking quite good for the future game weeks. And the thing about him is that he's nailed, plays 90 minutes most game weeks, so that's all we want from our FPL players. So this is my current watch list. Obviously there are more players around here, but these are the 3 players that I probably will be focusing on, and if I do make a transfer, one of the 3 probably will be coming in. So I spoke about the Game Week 18 fixture, and it's basically only important to your Liverpool options. They do play West Ham, but I don't think many of us are still owning the likes of Haller or other West Ham defenders. So focusing on Liverpool players, they miss the Game Week 18 fixture due to playing in the Club World Cup, so their fixture is negated. It's going to be postponed to later on in the season, so stay tuned for that double game week. But the thing about us is that all of us basically own a Liverpool option, so I wanted to remind you this Game Week 16, as if you are going to bank a transfer now for the future, you could do it right now. Otherwise, you could maybe use your transfer and then wait for the Watford fixture and then use your 2 free from there. But I wanted to just plant this seed, and hopefully you guys can sprout it and form a game week plan for Game Week 18. My team personally, I probably will be using the wildcard. I've mentioned it quite a lot in the previous previews and team selections, but it's looking like I will be using my wildcard in Game Week 18 so we can kind of transfer out those Liverpool options, and that's the reason why I'm maybe looking to bank up on a triple up of Liverpool options, because I can just transfer them out so easily. But otherwise, just make sure your bench is adequate. You can always just bench your Liverpool options for Game Week 18, as you want them back in after it. They have some nice home fixtures in Game Week 20 and 21, so you could always do that. But I just wanted to give you guys a reminder so you don't have a shock when you look at your Game Week 18 team and 3 out of your players aren't really playing. So just please keep that in mind when you are considering future transfer moves, and just keep it in the back of your mind. So the question that was quite frequent was what to do with the Liverpool triple up, mainly the double Liverpool defense. So most of us do own a Liverpool midfielder like of Sadio Mane, or if you are like Dayvy FPL, you own the likes of Salah. But in defense, I have Robertson, and a lot of people have doubled him up with Trent Alexander-Arnold. So it's a very tough spot to be in, as you've spent all this money on your premium defenders, and they simply aren't returning the clean sheets. Liverpool as a whole aren't defending quite well, and if you watch the game last night against Everton, they conceded 2 quite cheap goals. I won't lie that the second goal was really nicely worked from the cross from Bernard to Richarlison, but other than that, Liverpool have been conceding quite sloppy goals. They usually are called 2-1 FC right now, as they winning games pretty much 2-1. But I think with that Bournemouth-Watford fixture and the fact that they do have that blank coming up, if you do want to lose a Liverpool defender for Game Week 18 and you kind of want to prepare for it right now, I don't really think it's a bad decision to transfer out a Liverpool option. I think that the Bournemouth game is looking quite good for a clean sheet from Liverpool, especially they should be playing most of their main stars. Maybe against Everton you could have argued that it was a little bit of a weaker side. I know the defense wasn't weakened, but the midfield maybe was allowing a couple of balls into the crosses and that kind of thing. So I think against Bournemouth we can see the likes of the normal midfield coming back, apart from the likes of Fabinho. But I do think that Bournemouth on the weekend showed against Crystal Palace that they aren't doing quite well right now. The same with Watford. So if you want to kind of take a punt on a clean sheet, you got to be taking it on Bournemouth and Watford. So I think that I would try and keep those Liverpool defenders for the time being. As I said, I can perfectly understand it if you want to transfer them out in preparation for Game Week 18. But I think if you look at the game, Robertson and Trent, I don't think you can argue too much about Trent, as he's been performing even if they don't have the clean sheets. But with Alexander-Arnold, you're going to be keeping him. But maybe with Robertson, he's dropped off a little bit in attacking form. But I think you might as well just keep him for these next 2 fixtures. I don't think it's that massive of a fight to put out. Obviously, if you need funds to maybe upgrade to a likes of an Ali or a Son, you can do that. But my recommendation would be just to hold tight, see it out for Game Week 16 and 17, and then you can look at transferring them out. If they do keep clean sheets in these next 2, then you're going to be wanting to play them against Wolves and Sheffield United, as those fixtures also look quite good defensively. But I know it's quite frustrating, but sometimes patience does pay off. I don't think I'm the best example of that this FPL season, holding on to the likes of Salah and Sterling, but I really do think that the attacking threat of those wing backs really do offer. You saw the likes of Virgil van Dijk. You weren't really complaining about him a game week ago when he scored 2 goals, so that those Liverpool defenders just have that potential with that attacking threat. So my personal opinion was I would keep them. I think if you do own the likes of Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah both, you also just have to keep them, as these next 2 fixtures attacking wise are just looking quite delicious. So what to do with Mo Salah? I have him in my squad, so this is quite a personal question, but a lot of people are wondering what to do, and I think that with his rest against Brighton, he was taken off at the 60-minute mark. I really did think that Mo Salah would be playing against Everton, but he was not, and that kind of shows that we're not even having Pep roulette now. We're also having Jurgen Klopp roulette. So I think with the weekend, Mohamed Salah will start. I don't think that Klopp can afford to bench him for 2 games unless he was injured, but it does not seem like Mohamed Salah is that injured. So I expect him to play on the weekend, which puts us in quite a predicament. I think a lot of people are going from Salah to Mane, but I think that I'm going to be probably just sticking with Mo Salah. Mane could be a rotation risk this weekend, and I want Salah for this Bournemouth fixture. So he usually does quite well against Bournemouth, so I think I'll be sticking with Mo Salah. But I can perfectly understand if you maybe want to transfer him out. The transfer that I would understand is if you want to drop Salah to the likes of Ali or Son and then keep the likes of Sadio Mane if you do have a double up. But otherwise, I'm probably going to be keeping Salah. You can transfer him out. I think it's totally understandable. But I think I'm going to have a little bit of patience for this Bournemouth and Watford fixture. So Raheem Sterling's another one that we just don't know what to do with, and I wish it was so cut and dry, guys. It's not so black and white. I can't just say transfer him out, he's not going to be getting any points, as he still could. So with Raheem Sterling against Man United at home, the home fixture is enticing for me. I think if it was a Man United away at Old Trafford, it would be quite tempting to transfer him out. But then Manchester United at home, must-win game for Man City. I think they're going to be riled up for it. And then you've got the likes of Arsenal away, which I think you can agree with me should not be a 4-rated difficulty fixture. I think that's a lot easier than it is. After game week 16 and 17, you know I'm wildcarding in game week 18, so could look at the likes of transferring him out if he's not performing. But I think right now, Raheem Sterling's a keep for me against Man United and Arsenal. I know if you don't have a wild card, I think that you could be looking at transferring him out, and I think that I would. If you can do Raheem Sterling to Sadio Mane for a free, I think that that's a good transfer to do. I don't think I would be looking at the likes of Mohamed Salah, as he's been looking quite not so great on form right now. So I think if you can keep Raheem Sterling or downgrade him to one of the Spurs options, then that could be a good shout on that one. So talking about Spurs assets, this is what I think you should be doing. So the Burnley fixture is quite a nice one, but after that they do have Wolves away. So for my personal team with the wild card, I don't think I'll be bringing the Spurs assets in right now. I think I'll be looking at maybe seeing how they do on form. They did lose last night against Manchester United, so probably quite a surprising victory there. I was predicting a draw, but Ali did have a very nice goal, took it quite nicely, so you could be looking at him. But we're talking about which Spurs options later on. But I think with the Spurs options, the Burnley fixture at home is probably the one you want to bring in. I think the Wolves fixture away is quite tough, and then they have Chelsea, but then after that they have some very nice fixtures. So I think now's the time to bring them in if you don't have a wild card or anything like that. So in terms of options, you should be looking at Son and Ali. Those are the two favorites for me. I think my personal favorite right now is Ali. He comes in cheaper, looks to be getting in the box a lot more. With Son, he's a premium option. You're probably going to be getting some more consistent returns from him, but I do think that Dele Alli has the highest ceiling. The terms of Harry Kane, I don't think he's a great option right now. He seems to be dropping quite a lot deeper and then providing the assists for Son and Ali and those balls into the box. So I think these two are my favorite right now. I don't think you can go wrong choosing either of them, but my personal favorite is just Dele Alli because he looks to be getting quite forward and he does come in quite cheaper. So should you downgrade your Chelsea options? I don't mean downgrade as in buying a cheaper option, but a lot of people are thinking about maybe Pulisic or Mount out for Ali or Son. So I think that this is not the best move. I don't think I'd be looking at removing my Chelsea options for my Spurs options, as I think over Everton away and Bournemouth at home, that's a lot better than Wolves away and Burnley at home. That's just my personal preference. I think those fixtures are a lot better for Chelsea, and I think that your options of Pulisic and Mount should be performing quite well. There is always a rotation risk with Chelsea, so maybe if you think they're going to be rotated, then it looks like a sensible transfer out. But I think right now, if I was to keep Mason Mount, I think I would, as he is playing Everton and Bournemouth, and I think he can get a lot more out of that. After those fixtures, that's another story. You could be maybe looking at transferring Mount after that, but I think you got to hold for these next two. I think Tammy Abraham, if he's not injured, that looks like a keep, and maybe even a captain option against Bournemouth in game week 17. So the last question we're going to be talking about is the whole captaincy debate. So the captaincy this game week is a little bit tougher than last game week. Last game week we had kind of a set and forget captain with Jamie Vardy. He was probably not the best captaincy option now, taking hindsight in perspective, but I still think that he was a good option, and I don't think we would have been looking away from him against Watford at home. So Jamie Vardy comes in again against Aston Villa away. I do think this is quite a tough fixture. Aston Villa have shown that they can defensively be quite stable, and I think overall they are impressing quite a lot of people, so I think they're going to be up for this game. It is a away game for Jamie Vardy, and Jamie Vardy has kind of been sneaking in those goals every now and again, but I think that's just how he is. He doesn't get a lot of shots, but then he doesn't need them when he does do quite well. So he looks like a good captaincy option, but you can look away. I think this might be the game week to maybe captain someone a little bit differential. I'm thinking of the likes of Sadio Mane or Mohamed Salah against Bournemouth. Liverpool always do well against Bournemouth, and I think Bournemouth are looking in absolute disarray right now. Really bad form, losing to the likes of Crystal Palace when they only had 10 men for about 60 minutes. So I think that Bournemouth away is a great fixture for Liverpool. The only thing I worry about a little bit with the Liverpool options is now the rotation with that must-win game against RB Leipzig after this fixture. So you could be looking at that and maybe be a little bit skeptical. But if you want another captain, a little bit of a more differential, you can go for Aubameyang. He plays on Monday night, so if you're a little bit superstitious, if you want a captain on the last game of the game week, you could be looking at Aubameyang. Plays West Ham away. West Ham lost to Wolves this weekend, so I think that Arsenal should be putting a couple past West Ham. It's a little bit of a derby as well, so you could be looking at that fixture. So I think differential, Aubameyang. I think the safe options this game week are going to be Vardy and Mohamed Salah or Sadio Mane. I think the really safe option is Vardy. Has not shown that he's doing much wrong. I don't think we should be looking past him for captaincy after returning so many game weeks, but it's just how it is in FPL. We kind of always get a little bit greedy, and maybe this is not the game week to do it. So you can go for basically any captaincy option you feel. I think we could go a little bit differential and it might pay off, but right now it looks like Jamie Vardy is probably going to be the safe option. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Don't forget to like it if you did, and also subscribe if you're new or have not subscribed yet. Stay tuned for the team selection coming up tomorrow, and otherwise I'm going to be signing off. This has been Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers, bye.